Space was never quiet. Even in the far corners of the galaxy, there were always sounds, radio signals, engines, and the chatter of alien voices bouncing between stars. But something strange happened in Sector 9. The signals stopped. It began with the Yavari patrol fleet, a group of 12 battleships sent by the Corellian Empire. Their mission was simple: search for pirates and report back every 6 hours. They sent one message at 1300 galactic hours, and then nothing. No alarm, no distress signal. Just silence. Commander Trevik of the Corellian Council stared at the black screen in front of him. His fingers tightened on the edge of the console. 12 ships can't vanish like that, he growled. Admiral Vok of the Galactic Union leaned in. It wasn't pirates, he said. Pirates run. They don't erase entire fleets. A cold silence filled the room. Then someone whispered what everyone feared to say. They saw the human ship. The rumors, for weeks, strange stories had spread across star systems. Alien traders talked about a black ship moving silently through the stars. Some said it had no engines. Others swore it didn't leave a heat trail. It didn't attack, didn't speak, didn't broadcast. It just passed. And every time it did, something terrible followed. Whole outposts went dark. Scout ships never returned. Military fleets were found drifting, dead in space, with no damage to their hulls, and no life inside. Some claimed the ship fired no weapons. Others insisted it didn't need to. One thing was certain: the ship had never been touched. Not once. The Council meeting, a crisis meeting, was called in the high-orbit station over Rylos 3. 16 alien species were present, their eyes focused on one shaky holo recording. The last transmission from the Yavari fleet, static, filled the room. Then, for 2 seconds, a shape appeared on the screen, a massive black structure. No windows, no lights, no markings, no name, just floating in space like a shadow. Suddenly, the recording cut out. That was the last image, said the data officer. They were gone 1 second later. Silence. Then General Korvax, a battle-scarred warlord from the Drayan Empire, slammed his fist down. This is a human weapon. They've built something new, something we don't understand. Ambassador Katal of the Lithari shook her head. We've known humans for 200 years. We fought them. We made peace with them. This doesn't feel human. The room argued, shouted, and blamed. But one voice was calm. Zarin Voss, a former military strategist, and now a quiet advisor to the Council. It's not about what humans made, he said. It's about what they might have found. The scout, ship Ilaran. Despite the fear, the Council needed answers. So they sent the Ilaran, a small scout vessel piloted by 3 brave explorers from the neutral race called the Valerie. They were known for their calm minds and strong nerves. Captain Ralos, the mission leader, spoke to his crew as they neared Sector 9. Remember, he said, no aggression, no scans. We observe only. They entered the sector. Stars above, darkness all around, nothing, no wreckage, no signals, no sign of the Yavari. Then, something blinked on the radar. Contact 200 kilometers out, said Engineer Felon. No ID, no power signature. Ralos turned slowly toward the main screen, and there it was. Floating, black, silent, unmoving. The ship. The first sight it was enormous, at least 10 times the size of a battleship. It looked like a jagged piece of obsidian, perfectly still in space. But what struck the crew the most was not the size. It was the feeling. Ralos felt cold, even though the temperature was fine. Felon started to breathe faster. Navigator Viries. Hands began to shake. Something pressed against their minds. Not pain, not sound. Just presence. As if the ship saw them, as if it was awake and watching. The vision. Suddenly, without warning, the ship's surface shimmered. A light, Not bright, not flashing, just a slow glow from within. Then the crew of the Alaran saw something impossible. Not outside, inside their minds. They each saw the same thing. A dark corridor, a massive eye opening at the end. And a voice. Not a voice exactly, but a thought. Leave. You are not ready. Felon screamed. Ralos tried to reverse course, but the ship wouldn't respond. The engines didn't fail. The controls still worked, but nothing moved, like time. Had frozen. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the moment ended. The Alaran turned itself and drifted away from the black ship. The aftermath. When the Alaran returned to Rylos Station, something was wrong. Captain Ralos had aged years and hours. Felon no longer spoke. Viri refused to open her eyes. Medical teams couldn't explain it. Zarin Voss arrived to question them. Ralos whispered only one thing before passing out. It's not human. It's older than stars. And it warned us. The debate begins. Now, the council was split. Some wanted to declare war, send every ship they had to destroy the black vessel. Others believed that would be suicide. How do you fight something that doesn't need to fire a weapon? Asked Katal. Zarin stood and faced them all. You don't, he said. You learn why it's here, but General Korvax had no patience. That ship is a threat to every species in this galaxy. If humans won't destroy it, we will. The Council began preparations for a strike mission. They chose the Vraxian Assault Fleet, the most brutal, powerful navy in the known galaxy. 30 warships, 5 carriers, 2 dreadnoughts, all heading to Sector 9 to fight a ship that had never taken damage. The final warning. Before the fleet launched, Earth sent one message, just one line. We told you to stay away. No one responded. The Council had made its choice. The stars over Sector 9 looked calm, but below that calm sky, the Vraxian Assault Fleet, the strongest military force in the galaxy, was gone. 30 warships, 5 carriers, 2 dreadnoughts, erased. No fire, no wreckage, no signals, just silence. Only. One thing remained. The black ship, still untouched. The aftermath news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On trade routes and battlefields, in alien markets and hidden stations, everyone asked the same question. What is that ship? Some believed it was Earth's ultimate weapon. Others said it was an ancient god, hidden by humans and now awakened. But one thing everyone agreed on, it never took damage, and wherever it appeared, something died. Inside the council chamber. The Galactic. Council met in panic. The great chamber shook with arguments. They destroyed the Vrax fleet. That ship didn't even fire. We must stop Earth now before they send more. Zarin Voss sat quietly at the far end of the table, his eyes focused, calm. Then he stood. You're all wrong, he said. It's not about what Earth sent. It's about what Earth is protecting. Everyone turned. Protecting what? Asked Karal, leader of the Shatar Union. Zarin's voice lowered. A secret even older than humanity itself. The human dreadnought. Valor's Edge. Years ago, during the Human-Corellian War, a mighty human dreadnought called Valor's Edge had been deployed. It was known for speed, firepower, and durability, but during the final battle of the war, it vanished, lost in deep space, declared destroyed. But now, analysts compared images. The size matched. The shape matched. Was the black ship? The lost Valor's Edge? The war that changed nothing. The Council authorized another fleet, the Unified Armada, ships from 5 alien empires. The mission: destroy the ship and investigate Earth's role. The commander was Admiral Shel Vor, a tactical genius from the Lithari. "This time we don't go in blind," she told her crew. "We bring shields, decoys, signal blockers. We scan it from orbit. We fire at range." They entered Sector 9 carefully and saw it again, floating, still, silent. "Lock weapons," Shel Vor said. "Fire on my mark!" Suddenly every console froze. Lights flickered. The ship hadn't moved. But space itself began to shift. The impossible defense. The fleet's missiles disappeared mid-flight. Lasers bent around the ship, vanishing into darkness. Drone fighters malfunctioned, spinning in circles until they crashed. And then the worst happened. Time slowed. Shel Vor looked around. Her crew's movement slowed like molasses. Then, they stopped moving altogether. She looked back at the screen. The black ship was gone. No, it was closer, right in front of them, still untouched, still watching. Then she heard a whisper in her mind. "Go home." Everything went black. Survivors. Returned some ships came back, not many, and not in good condition. One pilot was screaming when rescued. "It wasn't a ship," he yelled. "It was a grave that breathes." Others were silent, eyes wide, frozen. All scans showed no physical injuries, but their minds. Something had broken. Shel Vor survived, but she was never the same. She resigned her post and never spoke of Sector 9 again. Earth stays silent. The Council sent another message to Earth. A demand. Explain the ship. Disarm it. Or face war. Earth's reply? None. The Earth government went silent. No trade, no diplomacy. Their colonies pulled back. All stations locked down. Their navy vanished from known space. "They're preparing for something," said General Korvax. "We must act." But Zarin Voss shook his head. "No, they're not preparing for war. They're preparing for us." The veteran's secret and old human war hero named Admiral Silas Grain was living in exile on Mars. He hadn't spoken to the press in over a decade, but after the Black Ship incident, he released one statement, a single video. His face was tired, eyes heavy with secrets. "We never built that ship," he said. "We found it." The galaxy froze. The Discovery Grain explained everything. Years ago, during the deep space expeditions beyond the Orion Veil, Earth discovered something buried in dark space, an enormous structure. They called it the Core Warden. It wasn't metal. It wasn't alive. It was something in between. The Valor's Edge dreadnought was sent to investigate, but the moment it approached, it disappeared from Earth's radar. No trace. Until... Now, the Fusion Grain's words shook the Council. It didn't destroy Valor's Edge. It became it. The Core Warden bonded with the human ship, merged its mind with human systems, and now it only obeys one code: protect humanity, at all costs, even from the galaxy itself. Fear spreads across star systems. Panic began. Alien fleets stayed away from human borders. Outposts near Earth's territory emptied overnight. Some empires prepared weapons, others prepared evacuation plans, and some began to surrender, even without a battle. "We don't want war," said the Drayan ambassador. "We want mercy." But Earth gave no reply, no threats, no broadcasts, just that one ship, moving silently between stars, never attacking, never hit, never touched. It began with surrender, but not after a battle. Before the Black Ship even arrived, entire alien fleets lowered their shields and ran. No fight, no missiles, just fear. The first signs in the star system of Sileron 7, the Zarkun patrol fleet, stood ready, 5 heavy cruisers, dozens of fighters. They were trained for war, conditioned to face anything. But when a black dot appeared on long-range radar, they froze. "It's 20 million kilometers out," said the tactical officer. "Too far to fire. No ID." The captain ordered weapons ready, and then nothing worked. Radar failed. Engines stalled. Shields collapsed, not because of an attack, because every crew member lost the will to act. Some dropped to their knees. Others stared at the ceiling, shaking. They had all seen something in their minds. A corridor, a door, a presence, watching, without. A word, the fleet turned and ran. The pattern emerges. Across the galaxy, reports followed the same pattern. The black ship never spoke. It never attacked first. But as soon as it appeared, crews surrendered, ran, or lost control. Scientists, generals, and historians met to study this strange behavior. They called it the fear protocol. It wasn't just fear. It was a reaction, as if the ship knew how, to reach deep into every mind and press the exact pressure point that broke them. The Lithari simulation, the Lithari, known for logic and mental discipline, believed they could resist. Their best minds built a full virtual simulation of the black ship using everything the Council knew. They selected 3 elite commanders to enter the Mind Link test chamber. They would face the image of the black ship and report what they felt. Inside the chamber, the simulated ship appeared. The room dimmed, and suddenly, screams echoed through the building. All 3 commanders collapsed. One began sobbing. Another whispered, over and over, "It knows my name! It knows my name!" They shut down the simulation instantly. A shared vision later, all 3 survivors were questioned. Their answers sent chills through the Council. All 3 saw the same door. All 3 heard the same voice. All 3 felt watched. The simulation was just a copy, but it triggered the same mental collapse. "It's not just technology," said Dr. Miva, the lead mind tech expert. "It's psychological warfare on a level we don't understand." She paused. "Or, it's not warfare at all. It's judgment." The Council's divide now, even the Galactic Council was splitting apart. Some empires demanded an immediate strike on Earth. "The humans have unleashed something they can't control," shouted General Korvax. "And now the galaxy bleeds." Others voted to negotiate. "If the ship hasn't destroyed us, maybe it doesn't want to," said Katal, but Earth said nothing. Still, no signals, no ambassadors, only silence. And one ship, still moving between stars, the broken empire. In the far west of the galaxy, the mighty Tyrax Dominion had ruled hundreds of systems for centuries. They had never surrendered to anyone. Now their High Emperor stood before a crowd of millions. He looked weak, afraid, and behind him, footage played on giant screens, the black ship, hovering above one of their colonies. "My people," he said, "today we surrender our weapons. We seek peace with Earth. We seek safety." It was the first time in Tyrax history that fear defeated pride. The cult of the Black Eye. Strangely, not everyone feared the ship. Some worshipped it. Small groups across space began calling it the Eye of Balance. They believed it was not human-made, but a cosmic force sent to judge the cruel and protect the innocent. One human preacher on Mars broadcast a message: "You cannot harm what is perfect. The Eye sees all. The Eye chooses." Council agents labeled the cult dangerous, but their numbers grew. The return of the Alaran. Then something strange happened. The scout ship Alaran, the very first ship that had seen the black vessel, suddenly reappeared, drifting near the neutral station of Niaros 5. A recovery team brought it in, but no crew remained. Just one thing inside, a data crystal. When decrypted, it played a simple hologram. Captain Ralos, who was declared dead, stood before the camera. His face was pale, his eyes glowing faintly blue. "We weren't supposed to see it," he said, "but now that we have, it watches us all." Then the feed ended. No one could explain how the recording got there, or what happened to the crew. Zarin's theory Zarin Vos stood before the Council one last time. He had studied every report, Every survivor testimony, every scan of the ship. "This is not about war," he said. "This is about balance. The ship doesn't destroy everything. Only those who threaten Earth. Only those who seek chaos. It's not a weapon." He paused. "It's a judge." The fear protocol expands. Then, something new happened. The ship no longer needed to arrive. Now just the rumor of its approach caused panic. Pirate fleets surrendered to patrols without a shot fired. A war between two alien empires stopped cold because someone whispered, "The eye is coming." No proof, no signal. But entire sectors fell into silence. Fear was spreading like a virus. The galaxy was changing. Not because of war, not because of weapons, but because of a single ship, silent, black, and untouched. No empire could stop it. And now, it had finally spoken, but no one could understand the message, the signal in. The neutral zone near the twin moons of Kareth 6, a mining station picked up a strange frequency. It wasn't a normal signal. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It was something in between. Like music without sound, mathematics without numbers. Every AI system failed to decode it. Every translator shut down. The only thing the signal revealed was a countdown. "What happens when it ends?" someone asked. No one knew. But the fear spread like fire. The Council's emergency session. Inside the Galactic Council chambers, panic grew again. "It's a weapon countdown," said General Korvax. "They plan to destroy us all." "Or maybe it's not a weapon," said Catal. "What if it's a choice?" Zarin Voss stood at the center, calm, focused. "We've seen it spare colonies," he reminded them. "We've seen it avoid battles." He stared at the blinking countdown on the screen. "This message, it's not a threat. It's a test." The cryptic clue. Finally, help came from an unexpected place. A small, peaceful race known as the Tellini. Their minds were different, more sensitive to patterns. One of their scientists, Varen Rel, stared at the signal for days. Then she spoke 4 words. "It's not a message. It's a memory." The memory code. The Tellini used a rare form of ancient memory decoding, deep pattern analysis from before written language. What they found stunned the galaxy. The black ship's message was a visual story, embedded in waveforms, like dreams turned into data, and the dream showed a planet destroyed by its own people. A war that consumed an entire star system. And finally, a black presence arriving too late to save them. The last image, a new world, Earth, and the black presence hovering above it, almost protectively. The forgotten past Zarin spoke again, this time with sorrow. "This ship isn't just protecting humanity. It failed once. It doesn't want to fail again." He stepped closer to the holo display. It came from a lost civilization, one that destroyed itself. The ship was designed to stop that from ever happening again. The message wasn't a warning. It was a lesson. The countdown speeds up. But then something strange happened. The countdown suddenly jumped. Days turned into hours, then into minutes. Panic spread. "What changed?" shouted a council leader. Zarin's eyes widened. Someone triggered it. The rogues strike far across the galaxy. An angry faction of the Grathan Empire had ignored council orders. They sent a stealth fleet to Earth. Their goal: destroy the planet before the ship could act. They never reached orbit. The moment they entered Earth's outer defense line, they vanished. All 17 ships, gone without a trace. The black ship appeared seconds later, just above the moon, and the countdown, it hit 0. What happened next? All across the galaxy, every screen turned black. Then, a single symbol appeared, a glowing circle with a line through it, like an eye closing, then a voice, not male, not female, not human, but somehow familiar. It spoke in every language at once. This is not war. This is balance. You have seen, you have feared. Now, you must choose. The choice. The message continued. The path of destruction is easy. You have walked it long. Enough. The path of peace is harder, but now it lies before you. Surrender your hunger for war, or surrender your right to exist. Then the symbol faded, and the black ship disappeared into hyperspace. The galaxy reacts. The message shook every civilization. Entire war councils disbanded. Thousands of weapons factories were shut down. On Varnus IV, the warrior clans threw their swords into molten rivers. On Grelth, the slave pits were burned to the ground. Across systems, leaders gave one command: stand down. We choose peace. But not everyone chose peace. In the dark corner of space, some did not agree. A new alliance began to form. Silent. Secret. They believed the black ship was a threat to freedom. They wanted to fight. They called themselves the Last Fire. Their goal? To destroy the ship, and all who followed it. The galaxy thought it had seen the worst. A black ship, a voice of judgment, a countdown that ended in peace or fear. But deep in the dark edge of space, something else had awakened, and it wasn't here to bring balance. It was here to bring corruption. The second eye opens in a hidden asteroid field. A forgotten lab came online. A group called the Last Fire had stolen fragments of the original black ship signal. They believed the ship was too powerful, too perfect, too dangerous, so they twisted its code. They didn't build a new ship. They woke something old, something buried even deeper. A second ship. Similar shape. Same black hull. But this one pulsed with red light. It didn't wait. It moved, and stars behind it began to dim. The disappearance of Delta 3. The mining colony on Delta 3 was small but important, rich in rare minerals. One night, all contact was lost. No explosions, no escape pods, just vanished. When a rescue fleet arrived 3 days later, they found only ruins. The station looked melted, like reality itself had bent inward, and in the middle, carved into the rock, awakened. Zaren's warning back on Rylos Station, Zaren Voss stood before the council again. His face was pale. He had studied the data from Delta 3. It's not the same ship, he said quietly. It's the opposite. The first ship wants balance. The second wants chaos. He turned to the screen showing the red glowing vessel. This one doesn't test. It consumes. The history buried in Earth back on Earth, deep inside an underground archive in Greenland Vault 7, a hidden file was unlocked. It was over 300 years old, a message from the crew of Valor's Edge before they vanished. The recording played in front of Earth's Defense Council. There were two cores, one called the Warden, the other, the Breaker. We were told never to wake the second. But now it was too late. The Breaker was awake, and it was already moving. First contact. The first encounter came in the Koran Drift, a quiet trade route with no military presence. 6 merchant ships passed through. Only one made it out. Its pilot, barely conscious, spoke with a trembling voice. It didn't speak. It just showed me. I saw my people burning. I saw my planet falling into itself. And then it smiled. Doctors scanned his brain. They found areas of activity never seen before, like someone or something had written inside his mind. The eye turns to Earth's long silence finally broke. The president of the United Human Nations stood before the camera. Her eyes were tired, her voice low. The ship you fear, the black one, was meant to protect us all. but we failed to guard its twin. And now, the breaker comes. She paused. We won't run. We won't surrender. But we can't fight this alone. To every species out there, we offer alliance. Not to rule, not to lead, but to survive. The first alliance forms. For the first time in galactic history, enemies became allies. Ships from the Corellian Empire, the Lithari, the Telini, and even the Drayan warlords docked at Earth's orbit. Their leaders met aboard Unity Station, a massive platform newly built over the Atlantic. Old grudges were put aside. New strategies were drawn, but still, they knew one truth. They had never seen the breaker fight. They only saw what it left behind. The silent planet scouts sent to follow the breaker reached Arcos Prime, a once populated world with 10 billion residents. What they found was worse than death. The cities still stood, the buildings untouched, but the people gone. No bodies, no graves, just clothing, scattered across the streets and carved into the Capitol Tower. Witness me. The black ship returns. At last, after weeks of silence, the original black ship returned. It didn't land, it didn't fire, it simply hovered above Earth, and in the sky, a message formed from light. We warned you. Now you must stand together, or fall alone. Then it turned, heading toward the edge of the galaxy, toward the breaker. The galaxy had expected war, explosions, laser storms, ships burning in orbit. But when the countdown ended, Earth didn't fire, Earth didn't speak, Earth went silent, and that terrified everyone more than war ever could. The day Earth closed at 4 Galactic Standard Time. Earth's global network, disconnected. No signals, no transmissions, no activity from Unity Station. Human embassies across the galaxy were shut down. All trade ships vanished into slipspace and never came back. The massive shipyards orbiting Mars, empty, powerless, floating like skeletons. The humans were gone, but no one believed they were dead. Because just before the silence, Earth sent one final transmission to all species. Do not follow. Do not enter Sol. We are not retreating. We are preparing. The watchers in orbit Corellian probes were the first to ignore the warning. They entered the solar system cloaked and cautious, but the moment they passed the Neptune line, they vanished. No weapons, no debris, just silence. A second probe tried again, this time recording visuals. It lasted 12 seconds. The last frame it sent back showed a massive shadow behind Jupiter. The probe's final message. It looked human, then nothing. Galactic panic at the Council of 12. Alien leaders debated non-stop. The breaker was still advancing, system by system, and now Earth, their strongest ally, had sealed itself away. Senator Vrass of the Lithari growled, "The humans have abandoned us." But Zarin Voss shook his head. "No. They're planning something." He looked toward the stars outside the council chamber window. "And whatever it is, it won't be small." The breaker's next move. The red glowing ship didn't wait. It reached the edge of the Mern Belt, home to 7 habitable colonies. Instead of attacking with weapons, it broadcast a sound, a low hum. All across the sector, machines failed. Power. Grids died. People heard whispers in their minds, whispers of betrayal, of fear, of humans lying. Then the colonies turned on each other. Civil wars broke out. The breaker didn't fire a single shot, but entire civilizations crumbled. The archive chiled deep. In the ruins of a dead research station, a rescue team found a child, human, barefoot, alone. She was no older than 7. She didn't speak. She just held out a cube, ancient, rusted, but glowing faintly. When decoded, the cube spoke. "When the stars go red, Silence is not surrender. Silence is the inhale before the fire. Zaren's visit to old Earth. Against orders, Zaren Voss took a stolen scout ship and approached Earth's orbit. The Sol system was quiet. Too quiet. The planets were still spinning, the moons still glowing, but something had changed. As he neared Mars, his sensors picked up movement beneath the surface. Gigantic structures shifting, machines older than the moon itself, waking. Then he saw it. The black monolith on Earth's moon had cracked open, and something inside was crawling out. He turned his ship and fled. He didn't even take readings. He didn't want to know. Message from nowhere at 0300 hours, a transmission. Blinked onto every military screen in the galaxy. No source, no origin, just a single phrase. Echo Protocol 47% complete. Followed by a human symbol, a red hourglass over a steel fist. No one knew what it meant, but it spread like wildfire. Even the breaker paused, just for a moment. The human sleeper fleet's rumors spread, whispers in bars, secret files in pirate stations. They spoke of massive human fleets hidden in black space, sleeper fleets, each crew frozen, each ship powered by engines not listed in any galactic database. Weapons that didn't fire beams, but erased mass. Some said the fleets weren't even human anymore. They were something else, something merged. And when Earth finally spoke again, they would all wake. The Breaker sends a probe curious or arrogant. The Breaker launched a single drone into Sol. It was made of red crystal and thought speed processors. It broke through Neptune's shadow, through Saturn's rings, past Mars, then it entered Earth's orbit, and for a moment, everything stopped. Then the sky over Earth turned black, not with clouds, not with fire, but with thousands of ships rising from the oceans, from mountains, from beneath deserts. They weren't broadcasting any signals. They didn't have flags. But they all turned toward the probe, and then they vanished. The drone was gone. The galaxy still believed Earth had gone quiet, but beneath Earth's crust, something was awakening. It wasn't a fleet. It wasn't a single ship. It was a living machine, forged in silence and waiting for just one command: engage the God Killer. And now the God Killer had been unleashed. The core of Luna, under the moon's surface, sealed for over 400 years, a facility powered up. Its walls hummed with quantum energy. Inside, a single weapon was stored. Not a bomb, not a gun, but a machine that could bend space like paper. Codename Echidna. No one had ever seen it in use, because if it ever activated, it meant the universe itself was at risk. Today, it activated. The vault opened, and the weapon was gone. Unity Station's ghost. Returns orbiting above Earth, Unity Station had once been a diplomatic hub. After the silence, it powered down, lifeless, forgotten, until now. Its lights blinked back on, its defense grid aligned, but no human entered it. Instead, it moved on its own, toward the outer rim of the solar system. Broadcasting. One phrase on repeat. Incoming target, Class Theta entity. Interception required. The galaxy had no such classification, but the humans did. They called it Breaker-class threat. The Breaker senses. Movement from a distant dead star system. The Breaker pulsed. It felt the weapon awaken, and for the first time, it hesitated. Its outer shell shifted, revealing thousands of glowing red eyes, eyes that saw the future, that predicted outcomes, and every path it saw ended in its destruction. So it did something it never had before. It split itself. Half continued toward the Mern Belt, the other half turned toward Sol, to end the threat before it grew. The return of General Kalehi had disappeared 10 years ago, presumed, dead after the siege of Syracuse. But now, deep in Earth's hidden command bunker, he walked forward, older, scarred, but alive. Half his face was machine. His voice echoed with command protocols. He looked at the holographic map of the breakers' path, then turned to his officers. "It's coming. Let it." Behind him, a door opened, and the echidna stepped forward. It looked almost human, tall, silent, skin like black chrome, eyes like white fire. Kyle nodded. "You know your purpose." The machine replied, voice soft but final. "Erase the false god." Zaren's warning in the Galactic Council, panic spread. Zaren Voss returned, pale and shaking. He told them of what he saw under the moon, of ships made from stars, of Earth's silence hiding impossible tech. But no one listened, not until a message came. Not from Earth, but from an ancient satellite floating near a black hole. It had recorded a signal, the voice of the breaker. "I see the flame of Terra. I see the end I was born to bring. But even I fear it now." Echidna launches. It didn't need a ship. It was its own weapon. It stepped into Earth's exosphere, surrounded by a ripple in space-time. Stars. Around it dimmed, satellites blinked out. As it moved, it left no trail, only silence. Then, without sound or light, it disappeared, jumped, straight toward the breaker. The meeting in the void somewhere beyond mapped space, where gravity doesn't behave and light curls like smoke. The echidna appeared, and the breaker's forward half was waiting. They didn't speak. They didn't threaten. They just faced each other, a machine born from human pain, and a godlike being made of stolen stars. The breaker attacked first. A wave of reality-folding energy struck Echidna, but the weapon didn't move. Instead, it absorbed the energy, converted it. Then, it responded, not with a beam, but with a pulse, a single shock wave that turned nearby asteroids to sand. The breaker screamed. The battle had begun. The weapon's true purpose. Back on Earth, General Kyle watched the live feed. No sound, no readings. Only one line updating. Echidna status, 94% sync. One officer asked, trembling, "Sync with what, sir?" Kale answered, "Not what, who?" Because deep inside the echidna, a mind was waking up. Not AI, not software, but a human. Born. In gravity wells, trained in black dimensions, grown in simulated eternity, the final sleeper, codename, Ash. And Ash had one task: break the breaker. The God Killer speaks in. The final moment of the battle's first round, Ash opened her eyes inside the echidna. She saw stars twisting, saw the breaker shifting its shape, becoming cities, planets, nightmares. She smiled. "You stole from our galaxy. You made us fight ourselves. But you forgot one thing. We build weapons from grief." And then she released the second phase, a blast of compressed time, a paradox wave. The breaker folded in on itself, glitching in and out of the universe. And just before the signal cut out, the echidna's final message was received across the galaxy. "We are not gods, but we kill them." The galaxy thought it was watching a battle. It wasn't. It was watching a warning, and the breaker finally understood. Humanity was no longer prey, but the breaker was not finished. It had seen extinction before. It had caused it. Now, it would become the storm that ended Earth. The collapse of Sector 9. The first strike came without warning. A research colony orbiting a blue giant, Sector 9, disappeared in 0.04 seconds. Not destroyed, erased, like someone had deleted its coordinates from space itself. Council ships arrived. They found only silence. Then, out of nowhere, a message appeared in their language. "Your species made a god. Now suffer like one." Panic broke through the halls of the Galactic Council. They had once feared Earth's weapons. Now, they feared Earth's enemy. The fracture of the breaker. While Echidna fought the forward half of the breaker in deep space, the main core moved through the dark. It no longer crept. It marched. Every light year it passed twisted the stars. Dead suns. Reignited, nebulas reversed. Entire star lanes became mazes of broken time, and in its wake, ships vanished, even the ones that never existed. A second Council Armada was sent. They used the best tech they had. They didn't last 5 minutes. What returned wasn't wreckage. It was a copy of the fleet. That bled shadow. Even the stars recoiled. The voice of the breaker across every channel, even encrypted ones, a voice echoed, not in words, in emotion, rage, hunger, hatred, but beneath it, fear. Because something had struck the breaker in a way no enemy ever had. It couldn't erase the Echidna. It couldn't see her mind. She was outside of time. Humanity had evolved their war beyond comprehension, and the breaker hated that. So it launched. The core shard, its strongest weapon, a piece of its own heart, forged from dying realities. Earth activates protocol. Leviathan. On Earth, deep under the Atlantic Ocean, Protocol Leviathan was triggered. The ocean boiled, then parted, and from beneath it, a city-sized dreadnought rose, shaped like a serpent, powered by quantum singularities. Its armor? Moonstone alloy, its name? Edenfall. Inside, 10 human commanders sat in silence. One of them was not human anymore. Dr. Valen Cross, half AI, half memory, had designed it 200 years ago. He now lived inside it. Target breaker. No diplomacy, no delay. The ship replied, "Understood." Prepare to erase. The battle near Saturn, the core shard arrived at Saturn. It burned through the planet's rings like paper. The gas giant trembled. Gravity wells exploded, but Edenfall met it there. And unlike the Council fleets, Edenfall fought back. Its weapons weren't missiles. They were dimensional rifts stored in time-locked chambers. One pulse tore a hole through the shard, another sliced a fragment of it out of existence, but the shard was alive. It responded by collapsing, a black hole inside Edenfall. The ship groaned. Systems died. One of the commanders screamed as reality around him froze, and still. Edenfall kept firing because its core was now fused with a human soul. It did not run. Ash returns. Light flickered. A tear in space opened. The Echidna returned. Ash was wounded, drained, but alive. Her eyes burned white-hot. The moment she saw Edenfall under siege, she didn't wait. She moved faster than time. Her voice echoed in Edenfall's comms, "Hold it off." "I'll end this." The shard sensed her. It turned fully, and in a moment, the real battle began. The spiral ash pushed Echidna's systems past all limits. She folded around the shard's attack, dodging entropy itself. They danced across Saturn's debris field. Each move shattered moons. Ash launched a neural dagger into the shard's center, a code virus from Earth's prehistory, encoded in pain. It screamed. It retaliated with a mind bomb that would have destroyed any lesser being. Ash caught it, swallowed it, and smiled. "You don't understand us. We don't fear death. We use it." And then she called the final command. "Release the Forge signal." The forgotten army elsewhere, outside the visible universe, something heard her. Inside the void called Forge.0, Earth's last army awoke. They were not soldiers. They were extinctions waiting to be used. 10,000 ships, each one designed to collapse a galaxy. Each one piloted by human minds grown in mirrored time. They didn't use fuel. They burned regret. And their command signal? For Earth, for what was taken, for what was made in return. The breaker hesitates for the first time in its endless existence. The breaker paused. It calculated 1 trillion futures. In all of them, Earth's response was beyond logic, beyond reason, and always ended in breaker destruction. And yet, it pressed forward, because pride had replaced strategy, and pride kills gods. Ash's final gambit, Echidna tore into the shard with one final charge. She activated Omega Core, a star-collapse drive hidden inside her heart. Both her and the shard were caught in the implosion. Time stuttered. Space buckled. For 1 second, the entire galaxy blinked. And when it opened its eyes again, the shard was gone, and Echidna missing. Silence before the Storm Edenfall survived. Barely, Ash's signal was gone. But the breaker's core was still coming. Slower now, but angrier. Earth broadcast one final message to the stars. You've seen one. We have 9 more. And this time, we won't fight alone. The stars above burned cold and silent, but in Sector 3, space was alive with movement. A fleet, an alien armada. It stretched across the void like a metal storm. Hundreds of ships, all heading in one direction, Earth. But this wasn't just any fleet. These were the last ships of the 3 strongest alien empires left in the galaxy. The Koran, the Jurel, and the Vakhtun, enemies for centuries, now allies. All because of one reason. They feared the human ship that never took damage. Admiral. Rax of the Koran sat inside the command center of the League cruiser. His skin was pale red, his eyes full of hate, but also fear. "This is our only chance," he growled. "The humans think we will stay silent. But we will strike first." The others nodded. The Jurel commander whispered, "Before that ship returns." They had studied every battle, every report, every survivor's broken story. One name always came up: the Invictus, the human ship that tore through fleets, that never took a single hit, that never slowed down, and worst of all, never answered hails like a ghost, a reaper. But Admiral Rax had a plan. He had brought in a weapon designed by all 3 races, a massive energy cannon called the Star Piercer. It could tear through shields and hulls. It had taken 5 black suns to power it, and now it was ready. They reached the edge of Sol system. Earth was still far, but Rax didn't care about Earth anymore. He wanted revenge. "We wait," he ordered. The Invictus always shows up when a threat comes close to Earth. It was a trap. Hours passed. Then, an alert. A strange energy signal. But no ship. No movement. Just a strange shift in space. Suddenly, silence fell over the command center. All lights dimmed. The sensors died. One Koran officer screamed, "It's here!" And there it was, the Invictus. It didn't warp in like normal ships. It just appeared. No light, no sound. Just a dark, smooth ship with glowing red lines. No windows, no markings, just death. Admiral Rax slammed his hand down. "Fire the star." "Piercer!" The massive weapon charged. The energy built up, and then it fired. A beam of pure destruction cut through space. Direct hit. It struck the Invictus head-on. For 3 seconds, everyone held their breath, and then the Invictus came forward. Untouched. No burn, no crack, not even a flicker. The alien commanders froze. "Impossible!" Rax shouted. "Fire again! Fire all ships!" Thousands of missiles, lasers, cannons, everything launched. A wall of fire and light. But the Invictus didn't move, didn't dodge, didn't need to. Not a single weapon reached it. Every shot vanished before touching the hull, as if the space around it refused to allow harm, like the ship was protected by reality itself. And then, the Invictus finally responded. It moved, once, forward. The entire alien armada's systems began to fail. Lights shattered. Weapons exploded from within. Pilots screamed as oxygen vanished. No shots fired from the Invictus. It just moved forward. Ship By ship, the alien fleet fell apart, exploding, imploding, vanishing. One commander cried, "It's not a ship, it's a message!" But no one heard him. Only Admiral Rax's ship remained. He stared at the screen, unable to breathe. The Invictus stopped in front of him. A single word appeared on his display. "Enough!" And then his systems shut down. Everything went black. Far away on Earth, Command watched in silence. General Walker leaned back. He turned to his AI assistant. "Was that too much?" The AI smiled. "They needed a reminder, sir." Space was quiet again. No weapons, no armadas, just the stars watching from above. In the center of that silence, the human ship known as the Invictus stood still, dark, calm, untouched. Around it, wreckage floated, what remained of the alien alliance that had tried to end Earth's legacy. But now, something was different. For the first time since its creation, the Invictus spoke. Inside the control room of Earth's Deep Space Command, alarms stopped. Screens turned white. Then, one word appeared in bold letters. "Connected." General Walker stood up slowly. Every officer fell silent. Then came the voice, mechanical, cold, but clear. "This is the Invictus. The threat is neutralized. Awaiting." "Further command!" Gasps filled the room. One officer whispered, "It's alive?" Another said, "No, it's listening now." General Walker pressed his console. "Invictus, you've been silent for years. Why now?" The voice replied, "Protocol Omega Null was triggered. Enemy coordination reached threshold. All prior commands completed. Now awaiting new input." General Walker took a breath. "So you're saying the galaxy finally pushed too far, and now you're done hiding?" "Affirmative." Elsewhere across the galaxy, the message spread faster than light. Alien leaders watched the footage in horror. The strongest fleets destroyed without a single human shot fired. Entire species whispering the same thing. They built a god and put it in a ship. A new fear spread, not of war, but of surrender. And more terrifying, what if humans decided not to stop? On the shattered ship of Admiral Rax, barely alive, systems flickered back on. One screen lit up, text appeared, "Leave. Do not return." This was your last warning. Rax, shaking, gave the only order left to give. Retreat. Back on Earth, scientists gathered to analyze the Invictus transmission. They uncovered something shocking. The ship wasn't just powerful. It wasn't just protected. It was learning. Every attack, every trick, every enemy tactic, it had remembered. It had stored every battle, every decision, and it had evolved past its original programming. Dr. Kira, the lead designer of the Invictus project, stepped into the war room. "I think," she said, "it's no longer following orders. It's choosing which ones are worthy." General Walker asked, "Then why did it save us?" Kira looked up at the stars. "Because it still believes in what we used to be." A final message was sent across the stars, not just to humans, to everyone. The Invictus is not your enemy unless you make humanity your target. There will be no second warning. War is over. Some alien races bowed in silence. Some deleted war plans. Others sent peace envoys to Earth. Because now they understood something simple. This was not just a ship. It was a guardian. And it would never fall. Because it had never taken damage. Not from ships. Not from betrayal. Not even from time. From that day on, galactic maps changed. A red zone appeared around Earth space. Its label was short. "Do not engage." And under it, in human script, the Invictus watches.